Greetings, fellow cultivators. Welcome back to Panda AudioBooks, your sanctuary for the pursuit of the unknown and the mastery of the soul. Today, we dive into chapters 186 through 190 of Pursuit of the Truth. Ming is no longer just surviving, he is starting to scheme. As he uncovers the deeper mysteries of the artifacts in his possession, he finds that the shadows of his past are catching up to him. In the land of South Morning, a man's worth is measured by his resolve, and Ming's resolve is about to be tested in ways he never expected. Find your focus. The journey continues with Chapter 186. Chapter 186, The Outburst in the Midst of Silence. When everyone fell silent in Han Mountain City, an old and aged voice suddenly came from Lake of Colors Mountain. That voice was a little weak, but the moment that voice appeared, it instantly broke the stillness caused by the people's silence. All their eyes gathered on Lake of Colors Mountain. Most of the people were unfamiliar with the voice that suddenly rang out. They only knew that the voice came from Lake of Colors tribe, but they did not know the identity of the person who spoke. However, there were still people who recognized the owner of the voice. Shocked expressions immediately appeared on their faces, and they whipped their heads around to look at Lake of Colors Mountain. Nan Tian's body shuddered. He had, of course, recognized the owner of the voice, and he immediately looked over. Lang Yin also sucked in a sharp breath and looked towards Lake of Colors Mountain. Ku Ju Sai was definitely the one outsider who was feeling the most overwhelmed at that moment. He knew the identity of the person who spoke, and because he had been a guest in Lake of Colors, he also knew a secret that practically no outsider would know: the terrifying aspects of the oft-ignored Lake of Colors elder due to the rumors spread among the outsiders that the head of Lake of Colors was the tribe leader. Lake of Colors, elder. Yang Wan's expression immediately changed on Lake of Colors Mountain. She looked towards the old woman by her side. She did not expect the elder to say such words at this moment. This act would in no doubt offend Puqiang. Even with the previous attempts to repair their relationship, it would be completely broken because of this. Sometimes, killing someone for personal gain was perhaps something trivial for two small tribes, but at this moment, if she said this before all the people in Han Mountain City, then this sentence would bring about almost irreparable damage. She suddenly understood why the elder had been flexing her right hand repeatedly just now. The answer to the elder's hesitation, which she did not understand, was revealed. Could the elder have predicted that something like this would happen? That's why she was hesitant. Yang Wan took a deep breath and lowered her head. The words of Lake of Colors elder reverberated in the area, causing the signs of an outburst in Han Mountain City to begin appearing among the crowd. However, they still remained silent. On Puqiang Mountain, the expression immediately changed on the man who looked like a mountain of flesh. The sullen old man who spoke by his side was momentarily stunned and found himself at a loss for words. The elder of Puqiang tribe frowned and anger appeared in his eyes. He slowly stood up and looked towards Lake of Colors Mountain. After a long while, he uttered his words slowly. "You are the elder of Lake of Colors, of course you have the right." The moment he spoke, the ones who did not know the identity of the person in Han Mountain City immediately fell into a state of shock and amazement. However, oddly enough, they did not talk amongst themselves. Instead, they turned this shock into a force for an outburst that was about to appear in the midst of their silence. "I disagree with this." The elder of Lake of Colors tribe, the old woman who looked increasingly lethargic, said languidly. Yang Wan gritted her teeth and shouted out, "I, Yang Wan, tribe leader of Lake of Colors tribe, also disagree with this." The voices of the tribe leader and the elder were the most significant will in a tribe. Yang Wan and the elder's words symbolized the stand Lake of Colors tribe decided to take. The meaning behind their words was enough to shake the entire Han Mountain. Very well. Very well. The entire Puqiang tribe was in shock. Countless Puqiang tribe's members were filled with anger, and their expressions changed. On the summit, the elder of Puqiang tribe laughed in anger, and his laughter was incredibly dark. The old man who previously spoke by his side was shivering. He had a feeling that all of this was related to what he had just said. That feeling became stronger when the man who looked like a mountain of flesh glared at him coldly. The man who looked like a mountain of flesh took a deep breath and stood up beside the elder of Puqiang tribe. He glared at Lake of Colors Mountain venomously and was just about to speak, yet at that moment, an old and aged bark of laughter traveled forth from Tranquil East Mountain. I disagree with this as well. I, Fang Shun, tribe leader of Tranquil East tribe, too, disagree with this. Right after the elder of Tranquil East spoke, Fang Shun's authoritative voice also reverberated in the air. I, Han Kangzi, disciple of Freezing Sky Clan, tribe member of Tranquil East tribe, also disagree with this. Han Kangzi's voice had always been delicate, yet at this moment, there was a steadfast tone within that delicate voice. On Puqiang Mountain, the man who looked like a mountain of flesh staggered and his expression changed. At that moment, the people of Puqiang tribe were no longer angry, but incredibly uneasy. They had a feeling that something big was about to happen. The elder of Puqiang tribe turned pale. The anger in his eyes burned stronger. He was about to speak, when suddenly, voices came once again, this time from Han Mountain City. I, Yang Fei from Lake of Colors tribe, disagree with Puqiang's decision. I, Nan Tien of the Transcendence realm of Han Mountain City, disagree. I, Ku Ju Sai of the Transcendence realm of Han Mountain City, disagree. I, Leng Ying of Han Mountain City, disagree with Puqiang tribe's decision. Right after Lake of Colors and Tranquil East, the four voices that traveled forth from Han Mountain City finally provided the final burst of energy necessary to break the silence. Without including Han Fei Zi, the other three were powerful transcended berserkers. It would have been useful if only one of them spoke, but the intimidating force created when the three of them spoke in succession, while not as powerful as a small tribe, was still a force that could not be overlooked. Especially when they were also outsiders. That was enough. I, Lu Dao, Han Mountain outsider, disagree with this. I'm also an outsider in Han Mountain, even if I don't have the right, I'm also telling you, Puqiang. I disagree. I, Song Yun, an outsider, disagree with this. Roars broke out from among the silent crowd within Han Mountain City. As the voices shouted out, more and more people broke out from their silence and cried out. They broke out of their silence and opened their mouths, howling towards Puqiang Mountain. I, Luo Hai, Han Mountain outsider, disagree. I, Yang Luo, Han Mountain outsider, disagree. I, Chen Feng, outsider, disagree. I, Chao Da, also disagree. Me too. I, Chao Song, also disagree. The voices shook the sky and earth, and gradually, everyone within Han Mountain City shouted out their thoughts. The countless people within Han Mountain City cried out the same words, and their voices blended together to form an outcry that could overcome the sound of thunder. Although saying that their voices shook the sky and earth was slightly too much of an exaggeration, it could still cause alarm to Puqiang tribe. The voices rumbled and shook the region, as if it could drown Puqiang tribe in a wave of sound, causing all the people on Puqiang Mountain to turn pale with terror and disbelief. The man who looked like a mountain of flesh did not speak for a long time on the mountain. He had not expected for things to turn out this way. This was no longer something that was solely related to the challenger of the chain. This was a surprise attack launched against them by all the people in Han Mountain City, along with Lake of Colors and Tranquil East. It was something of such epic proportions that could overturn the entire Puqiang tribe. This was blatant animosity. If they did not handle this with care, then they might even bring doom upon themselves. He was afraid. This fear even turned into terror. This is a conspiracy. This must be a conspiracy that was planned a long time ago. The man who looked like a mountain of flesh whipped his head around to look at the elder. The elder's face was pale. This had long since exceeded his expectations, and just like the man who looked like a mountain of flesh, he too, absolutely did not expect things to turn out this way. Elder, please make a decision quickly. The man that looked like a mountain of flesh was brimming with anxiety. He saw that the people around them were already overcome by terror, and their tribe members were crying out in fear. The shouts of disagreement traveled from outside, growing stronger to the volume of thunder, causing them to feel shocked and terrified. Even though only some of the people who shouted were transcended berserkers, even though most of those who cried out were only at the blood solidification realm, and some were even like ants in their eyes. Elder! When the man who looked like a mountain of flesh saw that the elder still remained unmoving, He whipped his head around to look at the old man who had spoken rashly in his panic. The old man trembled. He had felt that something bad was about to happen to him, and when he saw the tribe leader turning to look at him, the old man instinctively backed down. A sense of death looming over his head abruptly rose within him, and right at the moment the man who looked like a mountain of flesh moved and charged towards him, the old man quickly withdrew, a shrill cry tumbling out of his mouth. "I'm the chief of the hunters. Even if you're the tribe leader, you can't apprehend me because of one sentence." Even if the old man was running, the man who looked like a mountain of flesh had already closed in on him. "Elder. I contributed to the tribe. I'm one of the leaders in the tribe." The old man was terrified. Even as he retreated, no one came forth to help him. All of them were silent and watched as the man who looked like a mountain of flesh closed in on him and seized him with his right hand. "You forced my hand." When the old man saw that he was cornered, hatred and viciousness immediately appeared on his face. He did not want to die. He was just about to launch a desperate attack when the elder who had been staying silent all this while turned around at this moment. "Stop." His voice was not great, but it was filled with authority, causing the man who looked like a mountain of flesh to flinch. Once he descended to the ground, he looked at the elder anxiously. The old man also let out a huge sigh of relief. He also looked at the elder with anxiousness and uncertainty. The chief of hunters has contributed to the tribe. The elder of Puqiang tribe was passive, and no emotion could be seen on his face, be it happiness or anger. As he spoke, he walked forward. But, "Elder," the man who looked like a mountain of flesh was just about to speak, but his words were cut off by the elder. Not only did he contribute to the tribe, he's also loyal to the tribe. How can we condemn him because of one sentence? I cannot do something like this. The elder said languidly as he continued walking forward. Only then did the old man completely relax. Sweat beaded on his forehead and gratitude appeared in his eyes as he looked at the elder. He wrapped his fist in his palm and bowed towards him. He is loyal, and even if the tribe is in danger of destruction, he would not run for his own life. He would live for the tribe, and die for the tribe. Is that not so, chief of the hunters? As the elder spoke, he was already 30 feet away from the old man. As long as the tribe is here, then I will be here. If the tribe is in danger, then I won't live either, the old man quickly said. The elder came within 10 feet from the old man and spoke languidly. "If that is the case, then I will fulfill your wish. Thank you for all that you've done for the tribe." The moment his words came out, the old man was dumbfounded, then his expression drastically changed. Just as he was about to run away, the elder lifted his right hand and swung it abruptly. The chief of the hunters immediately let out a pained scream and bundles of black mist instantly surrounded his body. He trembled, and his body was enveloped by the mist before it charged out of Puqiang Mountain. In the blink of an eye, he was brought above the howling Han Mountain city. Chapter 187. It's him. This person intentionally said such words because he is a spy from another tribe. He is here to sow discord between Puqiang and Han Mountain, and this alone is a crime punishable by death. I will personally end this person's life, and will agree to the continuation of the challenge. As the old and aged voice of the elder of Puqiang tribe reverberated in the air, the person who was enveloped by the black mist above Han Mountain City burst apart with a bang and a shrill cry, turning into pieces of flesh and blood. Before he even fell down, he turned into wisps of black mist that disappeared into the air. Wind was blowing, and it took away the stench of blood that filled the air in the city, causing the angered people in Han Mountain City to gradually calm down. Ming stood on the 7th section of the chain and turned around to look at Han Mountain City. Then he wrapped his fist in his palm and bowed deeply in the city's direction. When he bowed, he immediately caused the crowd who became calm in Han Mountain City to let out shocked cries once again. "Sir, you have to finish walking through the entire chain. Walk through the 9th section and fight for all us outsiders in Han Mountain. Go on. We're all watching you. Please, walk forward. Go to Puqiang Mountain and complete your challenge. Enter Freezing Sky Clan and give us fellow outsiders hope." The voices that rose one after another were different from before. At that moment, all their words were filled with encouragement and hope. To them, the challenger, Ming, was no longer a stranger. He was the symbol of their hope and the representative of all the outsiders in Han Mountain. Brother, you have to complete the challenge. Once you return, I will prepare a feast. Let's hook arms and have a toast. Nan Qian's boisterous voice reverberated in the air. The admiration in his eyes had seeped into his invitation as he spoke. Count me in. Leng Ying's face was still cold and detached, but there was the ghost of a smile on his lips at that moment. Don't exclude me in this. Brother Nan, you'll have to bring out the drunken flower wine you have this time. When Ku Ju Sai's laughter appeared, it caused the voices coming out from within Han Mountain City to be stronger. That can be easily arranged. I'll definitely take it out. Nan Qian laughed heartily. Shen Lun's face turned darker. He stood in the distance and did not say a word. Su Ming heard all of their words. He lifted his head and looked at Han Mountain for a long while before he turned around and walked towards the 7th stone pillar at the end of the 7th section of the chain. He no longer saw his elder on the chain. The girl that was hidden deep within his heart too did not appear. Su Ming did not want to think what this signified. He could not tell himself calmly that everything on the chain was fake. He was no longer certain. Amidst the discussions and excited hollers from outside, Su Ming moved forward silently until he completed the 7th section of the chain and stood on the 7th stone pillar. At that moment, the sky was starting to brighten up. He could see dark clouds still covering most parts of the sky, including the light, casting the world in dimness. The 8th section. Su Ming did not stop to rest on the 7th stone pillar. He lifted his foot instead and stepped on the 8th section of the chain. He still did not see the girl he hoped to see the moment he stepped on the chain. It was clouded before him, but he was already very close to Puqiang Mountain. He could even see the people on Puqiang Mountain glaring at him coldly. Su Ming felt the pressure formed by age and time when he walked on the 8th section on the chain. It was the feeling of a lot of his life force being sucked away with each step he took. Even if he circulated his qi, it was becoming harder for him to persist as he walked on. Fatigue filled Su Ming's entire body. Once he moved 100 feet forward, his breathing was ragged and harsh. He could even feel age sweeping by on his body in his fatigue, taking away his life force, his strength, his vitality. It was as if he was aging slowly in the face of time. In fact, he had the feeling that once he became old, he would turn into ashes and scatter away. Is this the mystery of the 8th section of the chain? Time is passing so quickly that before anyone can embrace it, it's already over. Su Ming continued moving forward. He had no idea how much time passed. When the world gradually escaped from darkness, he looked at his hand. Wrinkles had appeared on his skin, and he no longer looked like a young man, but an old person. At that moment, he was only halfway through the 8th section of the chain. The other half left was swaying in the air, and seemed like it was rocking away time, making people feel that they could not keep time by their side even if they noticed it leaving. As the world brightened up and morning arrived, the elder of Puqiang tribe and the others glared coldly at Su Ming, who was already very close to them on the chain. Their gazes turned chilling. Su Ming lifted his head to look at Puqiang Mountain, which was lightening up in the sun. He saw the cold gazes and fell into pensive silence for a moment. I can't go over. If I can't cancel out the power of time, even if I walk to the end of the 8th section, I'll still lose all of my life force and die. Then I might as well not hide anymore. A bright sparkle appeared in Su Ming's eyes. He slowly lifted his head to look at the cloud-covered sky, and blood veins surfaced on his body rapidly. They appeared first on his face. In an instant, many blood veins appeared on the face that he hid underneath the hood. The blood veins were like a totem that formed a strange picture. At the same time, a shocking, powerful presence erupted forth from his body. The moment the presence appeared, the dark clouds in the sky seemed to change, showing signs of tumbling backwards. The elder and the others on Puqiang Mountain were the first to notice this. As the elder's pupils shrank and the expression of the man who looked like a mountain of flesh changed instantly, all the people on Puqiang Mountain felt a wave of restlessness come over them that stemmed from the blood veins in their bodies. It was an impulse that they could not control. Under the robes, Su Ming's upper torso and his arms were covered in many blood veins in an instant, and the astonishing presence continued growing. A much stronger presence erupted forth with a loud crash. Having his blood veins circulate in his body while they were hidden and having them circulate while they were completely manifested on his body was different. If he circulated them within his body, he would be using his own qi, but if he manifested them on his body, then his qi would be connected to the heavens and earth, and the strongest power he could muster would burst forth. Su Ming had concealed his blood veins within his body all this while. Right then, he no longer hid them, but chose to completely manifest them. As the astonishing qi within his body grew stronger, cries of surprise and uproars resounded from Puqiang Mountain. On the mountain, besides the elder, even the man who looked like a mountain of flesh was also in a state of shock. At that moment, the same memory appeared in their minds, the incredible event that caused the weather to change a few months ago in Han Mountain. The elder of Puqiang tribe may have seemed calm, but there was a fierce storm raging in his heart, in a manner that was not at all weaker than the wrath he showed the people just now. He is. Disbelief appeared in the elder's eyes. There was even a hint of shock within them. He suddenly realized that while he had already viewed this person highly since the beginning, but now, it turned out that it was not enough, he still underestimated him. Fear rose inside the elder of Puqiang tribe. He suddenly understood that Puqiang's greatest mistake was not in inciting the wrath of the crowd in Han Mountain, or Lake of Colors and Tranquil East, but that they did not see through this person. Completion of the blood solidification realm. The elder of Puqiang tribe staggered a few steps back, and his face turned pale. The moment he mumbled out his words, Su Ming's legs were covered by dense blood veins. Even if his blood veins were hidden under the robes, a power of qi so incredible it shook the heavens and earth was surging forth from his body. It made the color of the sky change, the clouds tumble, made the wind in the area still. The world turned dark. Su Ming lifted his head. At that moment, the dark clouds were tumbling in the sky, just like the strange phenomenon that had happened a few months ago. The deity statue of transcendence was about to descend upon Han Mountain once again. At the same time, red lines appeared out of thin air above Su Ming. The red lines were mere illusions, but the moment they appeared, they started gathering together rapidly. In a few moments, a gigantic figure of hundreds of feet appeared in the air above Su Ming. That person did not have a face, only the contour of its countenance. The contour was formed by the 979 blood veins. The moment it appeared, the presence of a berserker who attained completion during the blood solidification realm on Su Ming reached its peak. It's him. Completion in the blood solidification realm. 979 blood veins, only one more, and he'll attain the great completion that's only spoken in legends. Such a person is challenging Puqiang tribe's chain, and we even wanted to plot against him just now. On Puqiang Mountain, when the man who looked like a mountain of flesh saw the giant formed from blood veins hovering above Su Ming, he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Shock replaced all other emotions on his face. The others behind him were all dumbfounded, their expressions saying that they could not conceive what was happening before them. Yang Luan sucked in a breath on Lake of Colors Mountain. She was shaken, and shock appeared on her face. She did not expect that the chain's challenger would be the person who appeared a few months ago. I can't believe it's him. Beside her, a healthy red hue replaced the lethargic look on the old woman's face. She looked at Su Ming and at the person above him, and a brightness that was never seen before appeared in her eyes. Tranquil East Mountain burst into an earth-shattering uproar. The elder of Tranquil East instinctively took a few steps back. His expression changed and eventually settled on shock. If he was in this state, then it was even more so for Fang Shun, who stood beside him. Fang Shun was already completely stunned. Only Han Kangzi appeared excited as she trembled. Han Mountain City fell into momentary silence before shouts filled with excitement and surprise broke out from within the city. The manifested blood veins on Su Ming's body stirred up a drastic change that made them all mystified. Han Fei Zi trembled and her breathing quickened. Nan Qian, Ku Ju Sai, and Leng Ying were stunned, and only wrapped their heads around what had happened after a long while. Their gazes as they looked towards Su Ming were no longer of admiration, but respect. 979 blood veins, he just needs one more, and he'll attain great completion. If he transcends during great completion, his power can rival those in the middle stage of transcendence, and he can even hold his own with an ordinary berserker in the later stage of the transcendence realm. This person, if he transcends during great completion, then the strongest in Han Mountain City and the 3 tribes will be him. He'll be able to massacre an entire tribe on his own if he so wishes. I know why he didn't choose to transcend a few months ago. He wants to manifest that one more blood vein. I'm guessing that he chose to challenge the chains of Han Mountain to use that as a shock to gain one more blood vein. Chapter 188. Great Completion. The crowd's opinions varied. Discussions and uproars that shook the sky rose among them. The challenge of the chains of Han Mountain this time made all those paying attention feel as if their emotions were surging like waves, and they could not help it. Whether it was Su Ming's failure and fall, or his subsequent rise from the canyons, or even the words that came from Puqiang that eventually sparked the anger and outcries of disagreements that broke the silence that seemed to be still lingering in their ears, all of these made them excited, made their hearts surge with waves of emotions. However, compared to these, the shock they felt at the moment completely overcame all that they previously felt. The sight that unfolded before them was of a person with his head lifted towards the sky on the chain and a giant above them, catching all their attention. 979 blood veins. This was something that most people could not see in their lives. It was also something that most people could not do in their lives. As the clouds tumbled in the sky, the sight that had appeared a few months ago surfaced in their hearts, and one of the 2 great mysterious people that was the center of all topics in Han Mountain City appeared before their eyes. That emotion was too difficult to describe with words. Only shock could be marginally used to describe it. On Puqiang Mountain, the elder of Puqiang tribe was deathly pale. His mind was in turmoil, and he lost all ability to think. All the things that had happened during that one day made him feel helpless. First it was Han Mountain bells chimes that caused the fog protecting their mountain to scatter, then it was the catastrophe that almost fell upon them. They had just managed to escape from it by a hair's breadth, and he was looking at the person who brought the disaster on their heads with a cold, murderous look, when he suddenly realized that the person who was the source of the calamity only needed one more blood vein before he attained full completion right before his eyes. Even if the 3 tribes banded together, they still could not provoke a person like this, much less him alone. If such a person manifested one more blood vein and transcended, he could surpass all the powerful Berserkers in the middle stage of the Transcendence realm. There was no way Puqiang tribe would dare to provoke such a person. When he thought back on their plots against this person as they tried to prevent him from continuing the challenge, it made a strong sense of fear grow within the elder's heart. He wanted to use the chains of Han Mountain as a shock to himself so that he could gain one more blood vein, and we were deliberately making things difficult for him. Once he succeeds. The elder of Puqiang tribe mumbled, and anguish rose within his heart. No wonder he had dared to snatch what belonged to Sir Sai Ma. He has the right to do so. The man who looked like a mountain of flesh took a deep breath and immediately took a few steps forward to stand at the edge of the mountain. He forced out a smile and wrapped his fist in his palm before bowing deeply towards Su Ming, who was standing on the 8th section of the chain. I am Quangjong Ning, tribe leader of Puqiang tribe. Greetings, sir. I hope you will forgive our previous transgressions. It is our honor that you chose our tribe's chain. We will all wait here and hope that you will be able to gain one more blood vein. When your name sounds through all of South Morning, our tribe will be honored as well. The man's voice was very sincere and his face was filled with reverence as he bowed 3 times in succession. The elder of Puqiang tribe remained silent for a moment before he bowed deeply towards Su Ming. I am Quang Bei Xing, elder of Puqiang tribe. Greetings, sir. When they saw their tribe leader and elder doing so, the other leaders of Puqiang tribe standing behind them also bowed in reverence. Su Ming cast a glance at the elder and tribe leader on Puqiang Mountain. He did not speak. When he manifested all his blood veins, he had already speculated that this would happen. If the elder and tribe leader of a middle-sized tribe did not have this sort of resolution and forbearance, they would have long since been replaced by someone else. Yet he was short on time. As the clouds tumbled in the sky, Su Ming felt the urge to transcend that had been suppressed within his body showing signs of running out of control. He might transcend at any moment. I will transcend at Puqiang Mountain today. Defend me, and I will forgive all your previous transgressions, he stated languidly. The elder and tribe leader of Puqiang tribe immediately lifted their heads. Shock appeared on their faces, but it was quickly replaced by a solemn expression as they nodded their heads and obeyed. Sir, Worry not. I can also defend you. Please transcend without worry. I will not agree to anyone disturbing you. The old woman's voice came from Lake of Colors Mountain. Her voice might be old and aged, but there was strength in it, and a hint of steadfastness. I, Yang Luan, will also defend you. Please transcend without worry. I, Fang Zhen, elder of Tranquillise tribe, wish that you can increase your blood veins once again and reach the Transcendence realm when you have attained great completion. This is a major event for all the 3 tribes in Han Mountain. I will also defend you. Please transcend without worry. I, Fang Shen, tribe leader of Tranquillise tribe, am willing to defend you. I, Nan Tian, am willing to defend you. Please, do not worry. I, Ku Ju Sai, am willing to defend you. Me too. I've never seen a berserker who attained great completion transcending. Today, I, Leng Ying, will defend you. At the same moment, waves of sound stirred up in the crowd in Han Mountain City. Those waves were from numerous people telling Su Ming respectfully in declaration that they were willing to defend him. Gradually, the entire world seemed to be filled with the echoing waves of sounds, which turned into an earth-shattering statement. We are willing to defend you. Su Ming stood on the chain and rapped his fist as thanks towards all those around him. Then he took an abrupt step forward as his qi in his entire body circulated and turned into a blood-red light that illuminated the sky. The blood-red light shone out from within his body. The apparition of a giant above him was also glowing with red light, causing the entire region to be dyed in an impressive shade of red at that very moment. As his qi circulated, Su Ming also activated the branding art and entered fine control, causing each step he took to be his most powerful step. Due to his qi, the absorption of his life force gradually balanced out on the chain. With each step, the red light flickered on Su Ming's body. He had already traversed half of the 8th section of the chain. With all his qi in motion, his speed increased. Eventually, he was practically not looking at the chain under his feet as he moved forward, but each time he took a step, his feet would land precisely on the chain. After the time it takes to burn an incense stick, when Su Ming stood on the 8th stone pillar, there was only one final section left before him before he reached Puqiang Mountain. It was also at that moment that due to the continuous circulation of qi as he walked forward, the mighty presence coming out from within his body increased once again with a loud bang. Su Ming expected this increase. It was already very difficult for him to suppress the urge to transcend. He didn't have any further thoughts of suppressing it again. Today, he would finish challenging the chains of Han Mountain. Today, he would transcend. A flash of shocking red light appeared on the forehead of the muddled face covered by blood veins belonging to the giant formed by blood veins. The 980th blood vein appeared. The moment the blood vein appeared, the sky rumbled incessantly. The layers of clouds tumbled as if there was a pair of hands that reached deep within them and split them apart forcefully. As the clouds were torn apart, sunlight fell on the earth clearly and gathered on Su Ming's body. At the same time, a twisted apparition appeared in the sky. The scene that occurred in Han Mountain a few months ago appeared once again. This was the sign that the deity statue of transcendence was about to manifest. This symbolized that before long, the deity statue of transcendence would descend upon them once more. The sky rumbled incessantly. A large amount of clouds were ripped apart. A gentle light fell upon the entire world. The earth trembled slightly. A strong, imposing pressure accumulated in the sky. It had yet to fall upon people, but it was enough to make them feel shaken. Su Ming jolted. There was also a blood vein gathering on his forehead. That blood vein laid diagonally as if it penetrated his entire face. Once it appeared, he could clearly feel a boom that could shake the sky and earth within his body. No one else could hear that sound. Only he could. As the boom resounded, he felt strong. He could feel a vague calling in the sky. In fact, at that moment, he felt that all the people around him, even all the powerful transcended berserkers, were giving him a distinct sense that they were all weak. It was even more so for those in the blood solidification realm. Su Ming had an impression that with just one thought, he could make all the blood veins leave the bodies of those still in the blood solidification realm. As for those in the transcendence realm, they were no longer powerful in his eyes. Only the presence of a berserker in the middle stage of the transcendence realm coming from each of the 3 tribes could make Su Ming pay slight attention to them. This is the great completion in the blood solidification realm. Su Ming closed his eyes before he reopened them slowly, no longer suppressing the urge to transcend. He lifted his foot and moved towards the 9th section of the chain. 980. Blood veins. The elder of Puqiang tribe trembled. He no longer harbored any antagonistic thoughts towards Su Ming, who stood on the stone pillar before him. There was only deep reverence within him. Great completion of the blood solidification realm. This is the first time I see someone like this. Berserkers who can attain great completion like this should be rare in the entire land of South Morning. There was a frenzied look in the eyes of the tribe leader of Puqiang tribe. All Berserkers worshipped the powerful. The person before him was definitely someone who could transcend. Once he transcended, then he would in no doubt be the strongest person in the entire region in Han Mountain. On Tranquil East Mountain, the elder's breathing quickened. He had already came to a conclusion that this person was somehow connected to Sai Ma Xin, perhaps something like destiny. The elder of Tranquil East did not dare speculate. It did not matter whether it was Mo Su or Sai Ma Xin, he could not freely form speculations about them. However, it was his belief that if Mo Su entered Freezing Sky Clan and returned to Han Mountain once again, he would be a presence that was akin to the blazing sun. Fang Shen was thrilled. He knew that his son, Fang Mu, could truly be cured. Mo Su did not lie to him. He attained great completion. The old woman looked at the chains of Han Mountain on Lake of Colors Mountain, then at Han Fei Zi, who stood in the distance, and a strange glint appeared in her eyes. Fei I've already prepared everything for you. Whether you succeed or not once you enter Freezing Sky Clan will depend on your luck. As the power in the sky gathered together, when the crowd in Han Mountain City saw the 980th blood vein appear on Su Ming's body, all sounds of discussions and uproars died. Their gazes spoke of everything in their thoughts. Great completion of the blood solidification realm. It was also at this moment that Han Mountain Bell, which was located by the side of the stone gate connecting the 3rd and 2nd layer, let out a faint and muffled bell chime even though no one touched it. Chapter 189. The Envoys from Freezing Sky. The 9th section of the chain was the final section of the entire chain of Han Mountain. It was connected to Puqiang Mountain. If he stood there, he could see all the details on Puqiang Mountain clearly. Su Ming took a step forward. The moment his foot landed on the 9th section of the chain, a loud boom echoed in his body once again. This time, however, he was not the only one who heard the boom. That sound also reverberated in the air. This was a sign that another blood vein was about to manifest as his blood veins clashed against each other in his body in a strange manner. The sound may not have been loud, but it made the elder and tribe leader standing on Puqiang Mountain, along with all those who heard it, to be shocked. It was as if their blood veins were stirring up due to the boom and started appearing one by one on their bodies. The feeling of time spreading out from the 9th section of the chain was incredibly shocking, causing Su Ming to be unable to move fast. He moved forward, and once he covered 2/10 of the 9th section, a jolt ran through his entire body. The booming sounds inside his body were growing stronger, reaching a volume that shook the heavens and earth. Amidst the dense blood veins covering the chest of the blood-red giant above him, another blood vein appeared once again. The 981st vein. Su Ming lifted his head and looked at the clear sky. His eyes, which were hidden underneath the hood, were sparkling brightly. By revealing that he had attained completion of the blood solidification realm when he climbed the chains of Han Mountain, not only could he amaze the people, as per his goal, he could also use this method to increase his power as he walked through the chains of Han Mountain. The elders of the 3 tribes and the other leaders had guessed that Su Ming wanted to use the chains of Han Mountain to increase his blood veins, but they did not manage to speculate that Su Ming had a second goal. Su Ming took in a deep breath. Mountain breeze blew against his face, causing him to feel as if his breathing had stilled. Even if he managed to suck in a breath into his mouth, it was difficult for him to inhale it. The chain swayed under his feet. With each swing, it would feel as if time itself was surging like waves. 981 blood veins, it's still not enough, Su Ming mumbled and moved forward once again. He had no idea how those who managed to walk through the 9th section of the chain did it. He could sense that the speed at which the chain was absorbing his life force was so quick that even a berserker in the transcendence realm would find it hard to counter it. Even if they managed to walk through it, their vitality would suffer greatly. A glint appeared in Su Ming's eyes. He walked forward, and the distance between him and Puqiang Mountain continuously shrank. The presence emitting forth from his body grew once again after the time it takes to burn an incense stick. This time, the additional blood vein also appeared on his chest. As it was reflected on the giant above him, all the people in the area saw the 982nd blood vein appearing abruptly on Su Ming's body. Uproars broke out in the area. Han Mountain City was seething with excitement. All the people from the 3 tribes stood on the 3 mountains gazing upon Su Ming standing on the 9th section of the chain with a respectful look. 982 blood veins. If he finishes walking through the 9th section, just how many blood veins will he manage to obtain? I've never seen a berserker attaining great completion in the blood solidification realm before. Could he be trying to create a miracle and challenge himself to achieve the one state that was considered rare even during the time of the ancients? 1,000 blood veins. 1,000 blood veins. I've heard about an old saying, those who transcend with 1,000 blood veins will be the strongest among all below the bone sacrifice realm. Discussions were rife in the air, but the elders and tribe leaders were silent, their faces filled with reverence towards Su Ming. Su Ming continued walking down the chain. He could sense his own might. As his blood veins increased, even if it was just by 1 blood vein, it felt as if he had taken a gigantic leap forward in his path, making him realize clearly that he had total control over a certain power. That power was the power of the qi from all 982 blood veins. It was a power that was unique to all berserkers who attained great completion of the blood solidification realm. He would even occasionally look at the sky. The clouds had been ripped apart, and in their place was a layer of mist. That mist was not as thick as the clouds, but it was filled with a majestic presence. The deity statue of transcendence was rapidly materializing in the sky. Once it appeared again, it would mean that Su Ming needed to transcend. I've finally chosen to transcend. Su Ming looked at the mist tumbling in the sky with a conflicted expression. He lifted his foot and walked forward along the chain slowly. Walking on the chain was akin to walking on the passages of time. However, the memories of his life when he was in Dark Mountain surfaced in his mind. How many years had it been? Perhaps it had been 4 to 5 years, perhaps it was longer. Su Ming could not tell himself with certainty just how many years it had been. The memories of the confusion and sorrow when he initially arrived in the land of South Morning, and when he laid on the mountainside crying as he looked at the sky at a loss, were still fresh in his mind. The already mighty presence within Su Ming's body increased once again, and there were 983 blood veins on the giant above him now. The 983 blood veins glowed with a bright red light that lit up the sky and pierced into the eyes of all those watching. A mighty pressure that could make all those in the blood solidification realm tremble erupted forth from Su Ming's body. All those who were in the blood solidification realm within Han Mountain City and the 3 tribes started shivering faintly under this pressure, as if they were about to lose control of their bodies and were going to fall down to their knees to worship. This was the subjugation of blood veins. It was also something that would only appear once a berserker attained great completion of the blood solidification realm, a subjugation of a level equivalent to those in the transcendence realm. During the first time he saw Jing Nan, the very first time he saw a powerful berserker in the transcendence realm, Su Ming's heart had been overwhelmed by shock and eagerness. The seed of desire to become a powerful transcended berserker was sown in his heart since that time and been growing ever since. I want to transcend. I want to be a powerful berserker in the transcendence realm, Su Ming mumbled. This was his most straightforward wish at that time, to become a powerful transcended berserker and protect his tribe. Yet now sorrow appeared on Su Ming's face. He was close to transcendence, so close that he could transcend at any moment. However, he could no longer find the desire to transcend in hopes to protect his tribe. His sorrow melted into the presence emanating from his body, making the people sink into an indescribable state of depression, causing the commotion in the area to become silent. As Su Ming walked, his blood veins increased by 1 again, and he now had 984 blood veins. The existence of 984 blood veins caused Su Ming to be covered densely by blood veins, as if every inch of his skin was occupied. The sky rumbled, thunder roared, lightning continued crackling in the sky. The mist that covered the sky gathered together and the contour of the deity statue of transcendence appeared. The instant the statue's contour appeared, its might descended upon everyone. All the living beings on the land felt their hearts shaken to the core at that moment. Su Ming continued walking, and the image of Bai Tu, the elder of Black Mountain tribe, surfaced in his mind. This was the second transcended berserker he saw. Su Ming even had the feeling that Bai Tu was stronger than Jing Nan. Bai Tu's strength came from his power in the transcendence realm. The strange berserker arts he'd casted, their fierce battle against each other had caused Su Ming to feel powerless time and again, and his desire to transcend had increased. Booming sounds came from within Su Ming, and the 985th blood vein manifested. The shocking speed made all those who saw show expressions of disbelief. Even Nan Qian and the others, including Han Feizi, found it hard to hide the shock in their eyes. They suddenly understood once again why Su Ming chose not to transcend all those months ago. He was not pleased with the number of blood veins he had. He wanted to obtain more. With 985 blood veins, he could call himself a berserker who attained great completion in the blood solidification realm. Yet with each individual increase of one more blood vein once he attained great completion, his strength once he transcended would also increase. The difference that existed between him and those who transcended would also be gigantic. Su Ming walked forth silently. He felt as if he had returned to the moment when he first arrived in Han Mountain City, had returned to the time when he first saw Hifeng and Han Feizi. At that time, he had absolutely not expected that he would one day become Hifeng's master, much less cross hands with Han Feizi and from then on become entangled with her. Elder, do you know? Your Lasu is about to transcend draw his own berserker mark. How would my berserker mark look like? Su Ming mumbled as he took another step, another blood vein manifesting on his skin. The 986th vein. By then, Su Ming had walked through most of the 9th section of the chain. There was not even 1,000 feet away between him and Puqiang Mountain. Not only could Su Ming see the faces of those standing on the summit, the elder of Puqiang tribe and the others could also see Su Ming's robes clearly. The elder of Puqiang tribe lowered his head in reverence. By his side, the tribe leader also lowered his head as if he was waiting for Su Ming's arrival. At the moment, the sky was illuminated by bloodlight. Thunder rumbled above. The deity statue of transcendence was materializing slowly, becoming whole from just being a mere outline. The domineering might became stronger and covered the entire land. It was also at that moment that a sudden bright light came from Lake of Colors tribe. That light was white. If it were during normal times, the light would not garner much attention as it was also daylight, but since the world was illuminated in red, when the white light shone, it immediately became glaringly obvious. The light caught a lot of people's attention, but only a handful people knew the source of the light. Relocation. The elder of Tranquil East was stunned. He cast a glance at the tribe leader, and they saw the uncertainty in each other's eyes. Puqiang tribe was similarly swathed in uncertainty. Even Lake of Colors tribe was also uncertain. The old woman turned her head around swiftly and looked towards the location where the light was shining. That was the center of the summit of Lake of Colors Mountain. There was a gigantic picture carved on the ground over there. Elder, that relocation rune can only be used by freezing Sky Clan, could it be? Yang Luan looked towards the old woman. The old woman remained silent for a moment before she nodded. However, right at the moment the relocation light appeared, it was instantly crushed into mere fragments of light by the domineering pressure formed by the deity statue of transcendence that appeared in the sky. The fragments scattered away. At the same time, in the sky above a remote mountain 10,000 li away from Han Mountain City, a loud boom suddenly resounded in the sky. A white light came out of nowhere and turned into a complex picture that burst apart. 3 people walked out of the white light, looking like a right mess. What happened in Han Mountain City? There's something interfering with the power of relocation. It could only transfer us here. The leader of the 3 people was an old man in white. His eyes were sparkling with an intimidating might. At that moment, he was frowning as he looked towards Han Mountain City. The 2 people by his side were a man and a woman respectively. The 2 of them were in their 30s. They were extraordinarily good-looking, and what was more, they were berserkers in the transcendence realm. The person who spoke was the younger man. Chapter 190. It must be junior sister. The relocation rune in Lake of Colors tribe was drawn based on the 4-dimensional layer relocation art. The rune was given by the elder of Lake of Colors once she fully explored its structures and gave it to the left preceptor. The frame is placed in 2 locations. We've tried it numerous times before. There shouldn't be anything wrong with it, the woman from among the 3 people said languidly. Her voice had a gentle tone, but she was frowning, similarly not understanding what went wrong. We'll know if we go and take a look. If it's because of Lake of Colors tribe, then we must tell the head preceptor that the relocation rune still can't be used widely in the land of South Morning. Leader Liu, what do you say? The man with the extraordinarily good looks looked at the silent old man by his side with a respectful face. The woman, too, immediately turned towards the old man and bowed as a sign of respect. The both of you are acting as the school's envoys in Han Mountain City this time. I am only going there to meet my friends. You are free to make your own decisions, the old man said calmly, smiling faintly. The man nodded and obeyed respectfully. He looked the woman in the eye, and just as he was about to speak, the old man suddenly frowned. He took a scrutinizing look into the distance, and a grave expression appeared on his face. Wait, before you left for Han Mountain City, the left preceptor only gave 1 position and told you to receive Yang Fei of Lake of Colors tribe into the school, is that so? The old man's expression became even more solemn as he spoke slowly. The man and the woman were both stunned. The woman quickly nodded, but there was uneasiness on her face. Before she came, she had not regarded this task with much importance, simply thinking it was just a small task of taking away a disciple where no unexpected events would happen. It might have been decided that Han Fei Zi was someone close to attaining completion in the blood solidification realm, but she was joining Freezing Sky Clan on her own free will. The issue of having to force her to join was non-existent. However, when her junior fellow disciple was about to be relocated, the old man before them suddenly approached them and activated the relocation rune with them. This was not something they could refuse, neither did they have the right to refuse, much less dare to do so. The old man's family name was Liu. In Freezing Sky Clan, his post may not be as high as the left preceptor, but he had high seniority. He was usually rather eccentric, but lived alone in a mountain. He might be one of the people in Freezing Sky Clan, but in truth, he did not bother with anything within Freezing Sky Clan. It was almost as if he was temporarily living in the school. Sometimes, he would be very gentle, but there were also times when he would be terrifyingly sullen. Even the left preceptor in Freezing Sky Clan had to wrap his fist in his palm and call this old man September granduncle. There were some rumors regarding this old man within Freezing Sky Clan. All of these rumors would make those who heard them feel shaken and not dare to act rashly before this old man. However, oddly enough, the old man's level of cultivation remained at the bone sacrifice realm and seemed to not have changed at all over the years. When the old man asked the question, not only was the woman uneasy, the man beside her also became worried. They did not know the meaning behind the old man's sudden words. What is the last power? The old man asked once again. Leader Liu, by the indications from the left preceptor, the woman's power is near completion of the blood solidification realm. Once we take her into the school, the left preceptor will take her in as his disciple, the man immediately said respectfully. Taking her in as his disciple? Your left preceptor has discovered a real gem this time. The old man seemed to have felt something as he looked into the distance. If I'm correct, then the relocation was offset because the deity statue of transcendence has appeared in Han Mountain City. A strange light appeared in the old man's eyes. The moment his words appeared, the man and the woman's expressions instantly changed, and they whipped their heads towards the direction of Han Mountain City. The deity statue of transcendence. The woman took in a sharp breath and felt shaken. She knew clearly of the implications behind the appearance of the deity statue of transcendence. Even within Freezing Sky Clan, berserkers who could summon the deity statue when they transcended were still a rare sight. No wonder the Lord Left Preceptor regards this woman so highly. She managed to summon the deity statue of transcendence before she even joined Freezing Sky Clan. Once she joins the school, her status will definitely be different. The man was shocked, and thoughts of becoming acquainted with Yang Fei appeared in his mind. Unless there is another berserker who attained completion of the blood solidification realm in Han Mountain City right now, then the lass you are about to receive has just reached a breakthrough. The old man shook his head and seemed to be rather moved by what was happening as he walked forward. There's no way two berserkers who attained completion of the blood solidification realm would appear in Han Mountain City so coincidentally. Junior sister Han Fei Zi must have summoned the deity statue of transcendence. A faint smile appeared on the man's face as he followed behind the old man. Once junior sister Han Fei Zi joins the school, she will definitely shine like a jewel and shock freezing sky. I'm very curious about her. Once we meet her, I'll have to get to know her. A beautiful smile appeared on the woman's face as she spoke softly. The old man did not speak. The three of them turned into long arcs and charged forward. As they got closer to Han Mountain City, they gradually sensed the domineering presence coming from the sky. The clouds tumbled, and it looked as if there was a vague deity statue materializing rapidly within clouds. The pressure fell upon them the strongest when the three of them were 5,000 li away from Han Mountain City. What great might! The deity statue that junior sister Han Fei Zi summoned seems to be slightly different from the statues that the others summoned within the school when they transcended, the man mused, though he was incredibly relaxed. That's right. I've seen the deity statue of transcendence appear 4 times, this is the 5th time, but the pressure I feel this time is the strongest. We're not even close, and we already feel this way when we're 5,000 li away, the woman also gasped in admiration. Just like the man, the thought of befriending Han Fei Zi within her heart became clearer. However, the two of them did not realize that a strange light appeared in the old man's eyes as they got closer, and his expression became more solemn. Eventually, he suddenly came to a halt and stared at the sky, gradually overcome with amazement and shock. You said before that the lass is close to attaining completion of the blood solidification realm, the old man suddenly asked. The man and woman also stopped as he did so. They were slightly confused by the old man's words, but they still replied respectfully. Leader Liu, junior sister Han Fei Zi was appraised by the Lord Left Preceptor personally in the past. The old man fell silent for a moment before he asked again, how long ago was that? The Left Preceptor came here once about half a year ago, the extraordinarily good-looking man quickly replied. He was afraid the old man would want to take her in as a disciple, that was why he mentioned the Left Preceptor again in his words. The Lord Left Preceptor is placing a lot of importance on junior sister Han Fei Zi. I heard that he already wanted to take her in as a disciple a few years ago. He did not take in any other disciple during these few years because he wanted to focus all his attention on our junior sister. The girl by his side spoke softly with a respectful tone. Half a year ago. A bright light appeared in the old man's eyes. Yes. Junior sister Han Fei Zi does indeed have shocking talent. To be able to attain completion of the blood solidification realm within half a year, I can't compare to her. The man sighed deeply. The old man remained silent for a while before he said slowly, is this just completion of the blood solidification realm? Take a closer look. This deity statue of transcendence would not appear for a berserker who attained completion of the blood solidification realm. This is clearly the true form of transcendence that will only appear for a berserker who attains the great completion of the blood solidification realm. The moment he spoke, the man and woman's expressions drastically changed. Great completion of the blood solidification realm. Junior sister attained great completion of the blood solidification realm within half a year. This is, the man was completely stunned. His eyes widened in disbelieving shock. Transcending during great completion, if the Lord Left Preceptor knew about this, he'd have definitely come personally. The woman trembled and looked towards Han Mountain City. At that moment in Han Mountain City, as the deity statue of transcendence materialized in the sky, its might descended upon them, causing the earth to start shaking faintly. All those within the blood solidification realm could no longer stand on their feet. They fell to the ground on their knees. Even some of the transcended berserkers found that they could not withstand the pressure. Before long, they would also be forced to fall to their knees and worship the statue. Ming could feel the urge to transcend within him reaching its limit, but 986 blood veins still could not make him satisfied. He stood on the chain and took a huge step forward, instantly closing up the 1,000 feet worth of distance between him and Puqiang Mountain. When there was only 700 feet between them, a booming sound rang out within Su Ming's body once again, and as the heavens and earth trembled, another blood vein manifested. 987 blood veins. The moment the 987th blood vein manifested, the clouds in the sky tumbled furiously. An amorphous, gigantic deity statue appeared in the mist. That statue seemed to look exactly the same as the deity statue of transcendence that appeared a few months ago, but if people took a closer look, they would see that there were some differences. For starters, the pressure it exuded far surpassed the pressure they felt a few months ago. The liveliness and intelligence of the statue from a few months ago too could not compare with this statue. If the deity statue from a few months ago seemed to possess the spirit of a human, then the statue now seemed to contain the spirit of a deity. I order thee transcend. The voice traveled to the entire region and turned into a sound that drowned out the sounds of thunder. The voice droned as it descended from the sky, and as it came, the weather changed, the earth shook, and rocks fell from mountains. When the voice fell upon them, it caused all those who were in the blood solidification realm to fall to their knees worshipping and feel shaken to the core. A buzzing sound filled their minds and turned them blank. The transcended berserkers could no longer stand on their feet. Nan Tien and the others were forced onto their knees as well, and their bodies trembled. In the entire region around Han Mountain, only the elders of the 3 tribes and Yang Luan could remain standing. The elder of Lake of Colors may seem frail, but the fact that she could remain standing in the face of the deity statue of transcendence was a testament that her power was definitely not as rumored. The moment Su Ming heard the voice, his qi erupted forth from within his body. Many ripples also formed on the giant that was formed by his blood veins above him, looking as if it was about to break down and reassemble. The 987 blood veins on the giant's body started trembling. 3 people charged through the sky, still 4,000 li away from Han Mountain City. However, as they got closer to the city, the pressure increased, causing their speed to decrease. Nonetheless, although they were thousands of leagues away, the majestic voice that traveled out from Han Mountain still rang clearly in their ears. The old man looked calm, the only change on him was that his pupils shrank slightly. However, the man and woman were so badly shaken that they could barely stand. Conflict and eagerness appeared on their faces. Junior sister Han Fei Zi has transcended. She transcended during the great completion of the blood solidification realm. Once she's done, her power. That concludes Chapter 190. Su Ming has laid the first brick of a new foundation, but in a world of shifting sands, will it hold? Thank you for joining us here at Panda AudioBooks. If today's chapters piqued your curiosity, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep the sanctuary open for all who seek the legends of the cultivation world. What do you think Su Ming's ultimate goal is in this new alliance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Until our next session, stay vigilant and keep seeking your own truth.